So I have about 600 more miles to go on this long journey I'm going on. I already chalked up about 1,100 miles. And from my experience, I'm going to give you my 5 tips on taking a long road trip in a van. Tip number 1, it's kind of like a two-part one, is to get cheap gas when you see it. So I'm driving along and I see gas for like 209. Now the average gas that I've been seeing is about 229, 230 something. So 209 is very good, even, especially from where I came from too. Like the cheapest was like 213. So to see that, it's a great deal. But I'm like, let me get a little bit closer. That way I get to a certain amount of gas gone out of my tank, and then I can put more in. Well, just go ahead and get the cheap gas out when you see it. Because every time I wait, I end up going up about 20 more cents just for waiting 20 more miles. So get the cheap gas when you see it. And also, the second part of that tip is to do not let your tank go below a quarter tank of gas. I did that in my RV, ended up having to call roadside assistance, and I was like 5 miles from the gas stations, but I just couldn't get there. And I was parked in a dangerous spot, so I couldn't leave my RV. So yes, do not let it go below a quarter tank. When you see it getting close to a quarter tank, go ahead and get some gas and fill it up. And it also runs better when it's on a full tank. It runs better when it's above half of a tank. So just, be mindful of that. Tip number 2 would be back roads. If you can, take some back roads. I try not to go above 60, so I stay between 55 and 60 miles per hour. If you do that, try the back roads. It may say in the directions it takes longer, but but that's because it bases that distance off of going 70 miles an hour. So if you're going 55, it's going to take the same amount of time to go on that interstate as it will on the back road. And I'd rather do that than having semis drive past me, swaying me, people passing me, just constantly passing me. I'd rather just have a scenic route, take my time, and enjoy it if I'm going to go 55 anyway. Tip number 3 would be food. So carry some food with you. Carry enough so if you do get stuck somewhere or whatever, you have enough for, maybe 2 or 3 days of food. Think about sandwiches, like making some sandwiches like peanut butter and jelly, putting them in baggies or turkey sandwiches or something and sticking them in your cooler. And that way you have, lunch and dinner, breakfast, lunch, and dinner already ready too. You could just grab it and go if you're in a rush. Have some nice snacks, but also get, I'm not going to say healthy because it's hard to do that. I've even been eating on some junk food like zebra cakes and chips and stuff, but because it's easy. But even if you have that, make sure to incorporate some type of greens or vegetables or something that will give you energy. So I've had a few days where I wake up and I have less energy than other days, and it's because I'm not getting the right nutrients. So if you take supplements or vitamins or anything, make sure you're taking that too. Don't slack off just because you're on the road. Go ahead and prep it and get it ready before you leave so that it's easy to get to and it's easy to take and eat and everything like that. So that leads me to tip number 4, which is finding a place to stay. There are different apps, which I'll try and link a few below, apps and websites that you can go to find places to stay. I've basically just been saying I'm going to this place and I'll stop before that place and look on those apps and find somewhere to stay for the night. There's free camping all over the place, free parking, stuff like that. You can find it on those apps, on those websites. And even if you're brave enough, you can go ahead and just go into those places and drive around until you find something. There's a lot of like state parks and stuff like that you can find that usually will have like free camping and stuff like that. So definitely look into that if you don't know anything about that. And my 5th tip, I believe it's my 5th tip. If it's not, it's an extra tip. Would be, I forgot it. Hold on a second. I got it. I remember just now. Okay, so my 5th tip would be to make sure to take breaks. Get some rest. Like, don't push yourself too hard. I actually planned for more time than I needed. I'm finding out. I'm actually ahead of schedule now, which is great. It's awesome. It gives me more time to stop and enjoy more scenery and stuff like that. So definitely take your breaks. I think I've been going between like 68 and 100 miles, and I'll stop for like at least an hour to give the van a rest. Not only give the van a rest, but to give myself a rest and my body a rest. I'll even take a nap if I have time. If I feel like I have time, eat something, just take a break. A mental break, read a book, get on your phone or whatever. Go somewhere cool with AC. Any of that stuff, just stop and take a break. Don't push yourself too hard. I think the furthest that I've driven in a day so far on this trip was like 4.5 hours, maybe even 5 hours. I can't remember. I have to think about it. But it actually didn't feel like that long because I took the back scenic route. But I did, go that far. But at every like I said, about between 68 and 100 miles, I would stop and take a break and chill out and let the van rest, and then check like fluids and tire pressure and all that stuff, and then get back on the road. So, like I said, I have about 600 or so more miles to go, if that, and then I'm at my destination. So be safe out there. Hope these tips help someone. Below, leave some tips that you think will help someone as well. And yeah, we're going to see where this takes us.